What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 126 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello.
Hello.
That is a nice sort of fade in, look down, look down, look down, look up. Yeah, very good.
Oh, good friends reference. Love it.
Very nice, Chandler, right there. Matthew, hello.
Hello. So I'm used to having my microphone attached to like my body, and now I have like one on the desk. Do you guys hear when I drink beer? Do I have to mute my mic every time here? So
can you do it?
No, we cannot. I cannot hear that.
I can't hear that at all.
Okay, so I don't have to mute my mic every time I drink a beer. All right.
No. But when
learning new things.
Yes, learning new things. When you set it down, though, be careful. And what are you drinking over there?
I'm drinking Lone Star. So on the can, as you see,
that's the state that you're in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's gonna come up backwards, but it says the National Beer of Texas, which really throws me off. What does that mean? The national beer of the state?
It's just a clever marketing ploy, but also it doesn't come up backwards for us.
A nation doesn't technically mean a country either. A nation is a group of people.
That looks like us. That looks loans. That's spelled correctly, Matt. It just looks backwards for you. All right. Hello, everybody. This is a soccer podcast. If you're joining us live on YouTube, hello, welcome. Please say hello, interact with us as we go along here. It is going to be so much fun. Christian is changing things on the Google Doc as I am looking at it. So hopefully that doesn't throw anything off, but I'm sure it'll just be so much fun. But, oh my God. I know, but I still populate the YouTube description, so I'll go back and readjust things. But also, I don't think you changed anything.
I just added a name so that I didn't forget.
So then we're fine. We're fine then. Oh my God. Okay, Christian, I think has a trivia question.
Christian does have a trivia question.
Wait,
cool. But we didn't start the podcast, so
no. I was freaking double checking, guys. All right, I'm a little tired.
Wait,
all right, get off my
face.
Hold up. We them boys.
I don't understand this reference whatsoever.
It's a song, Dave.
It's a song.
God.
Okay. Still don't understand the reference. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 126 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello. How are you doing today?
Hello, David. I am doing pretty good. We just played against Westchester in our finale of the season, and that wraps up another Colonial season. I know everyone was wondering what happened. So I'll just give you a quick summary of the season here. We ended up with 40 points in 20 games in the league. Ended up with 74 goals, 29 against. So very, very solid season. Lost to Westchester, who clearly ran away with the league, obviously, since they're a professional team and it's absolute bullshit that they're around. But it was a very good game. One mistake makes me cry, but whatever. It is what it is.
What was the score?
1-0.
Well, that's okay. All right. And hopefully, you got some time to rest, heal up. I think you've had a long weekend.
I've had 3 games this weekend, and it's been like 85 degrees or higher both days and sunny. So I've been in the sun a lot. I mean, I look good, obviously. Look at me. But,
You know how good your smile is?
That's for you, Matt.
Save that for the listener question, Jackson.
Yeah, that'll come back. But yeah, that'll wrap up my weeks.
Okay, Matthew. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, David. I just recently accepted a new job, so I have the next 2 weeks off where I will be doing a lot of drinking this beverage. If you're watching on YouTube, I will be drinking a lot of this over the next 2 weeks and just having a great time.
Advertise.
All right. Yeah. Advertisers, reach out to us. We would love to. Guys, I'm doing okay. Thank you so much for asking. Oh my God. I'm a little bit tired. Haven't really slept slept well in about 2.5 weeks or 2 weeks. I don't even know anymore.
What?
My shoulder and neck is still having lots and lots of troubles. But today ran beta breakers, and that was a cool experience in San Francisco. But I haven't trained in 2 weeks. So I'm going to be sore as hell tomorrow. 7.5 miles, all kinds of wacky costumes. But overall, I'm going to try to bring the energy here, guys, and just feeding off of your energy is just going to pull me through all of this. So I'm super excited, and listeners, we're excited to talk with you. Christian, what is our trivia question this week?
Trivia question this week is going to be, do you know between Frank Ribery and Ian Robin, who had more goals between them, who had more assists between them? And I'll leave it at that.
At Bayern?
At Bayern specifically, because they are both retiring from Bayern. And I will do titles as well. Who has the most titles between them?
Wait,
there you go.
So when you said they're retiring from Bayern, are they leaving Bayern or are they retiring from?
I think they're just leaving Bayern. I don't think either of them are retiring.
So they're leaving Bayern.
Yeah, let's phrase it that way. Good point.
Okay.
Very good.
Wow. Good work, everybody.
It's practically retiring, though, because they're old as shit. All right, so, Matthew, would you like to kick it off with Matt's Megs?
Yeah, wow. Thank you, Christian.
You're
Usually
welcome.
I'm thanking David, but I feel a lot better thanking Christian.
Smooth transitions. Smooth transitions.
Hey, Dave, keep it to yourself. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Matt's Megs. This week, we'll start talking about Vincent Kompany.
Strong start, Matt. Strong start.
Oh my God, the Lone Star.
Mind your Lone Star. Dave, mind your own business. Vincent Kompany, Manchester City center back since 2008, 2007, 2008, 2009. One of those years. I can't do the math at this point, but 10 plus years probably. So he just announced today that he will no longer extend his contract with Manchester City, and he has accepted a player-manager role at Anderlecht in the Belgian Pro League? Belgian top? What is it called? It's the Belgian Pro League?
At one point, it was the Juniper League. I don't know if it's still called that.
I don't think it was ever the Juniper League.
Is that
Juniper? Yeah, the Juniper League. That was their sponsor.
Wait, are you serious?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I thought you just missaid that word.
No, this time I'm actually pronouncing something correct. It might be the Juniper Pro League, I think is what it was called. But I don't know if that's still the name.
And Dave, you pronounced correctly, not correct.
What?
All right, so the Juniper League there in Belgium is where Vincent Kompany will be a player manager. But first, in my topic, I just wanted to discuss, overall center backs in the Premier League history. We're not including, before 90. Was it 92 when the Premier League started?
Yes.
Am I correct?
92, 93.
Okay. Yes.
So we're going to talk about Premier League best center backs. Maybe your top 5, maybe your top 1, your top 3, however many you can think of at this point. But where would you rank Kompany and other great center backs in the Premier League at this point? Christian, I will start with you.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so I was not prepared for this in any way, but I already have 4 that popped out in my mind. So we're going to hop in with the top 4 that I can think of. I'm going to say John Terry is on that list. For as much as I hate him as a human being, I think he was one of the top center backs in the world for a very, very long time. Rio Ferdinand and Vidic, both from Manchester United, were just incredible together at Manchester United. I think Vidic was the better player overall, and he was incredible on his day, except for when he played against Fernando Torres, and then he all of a sudden just lost the ability to walk and would just fall down all the time. And the other one I want to say is obviously Van Dijk right now, and I think Kompany deserves to be in the discussions there, but Van Dijk is just a monster of a man. And I don't think you can say he's in the top 5 right now, obviously, because he's only done it for 1 year at Liverpool, or a year and a half now, but he's going to be in that discussion. I'm trying to think earlier on who was part of that Arsenal team, maybe.
Tony Adams is immediately jumped in my head. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Tony Adams was probably the one. Although Sami Hyypiä, I think, deserves credit as well from Liverpool. He was an absolute beast at the back. Do you not remember him?
No, I remember him, but I don't know if he deserves to be mentioned as all-time great. I think also, obviously, our references are going to skew a bit more modern. We have been watching closely since the late 2000s, so 2008 onwards. So that's going to influence a lot of this. I mean, going back to some of the dominant Sir Alex Ferguson teams in the 90s, I don't really know them very well. I don't know the Arsenal Invincibles team too greatly. Yeah, Jaap Stam, I believe, was there. And again, I can't really speak to them. So the players that Christian highlighted, I mean, I would more or less agree with from a modern perspective. And I agree, Van Dijk in the moment is absolutely incredible, but he hasn't done it long enough, whereas Kompany did it for a 10-year period. And part of that is kind of just unfortunate timing. Van Dijk didn't join a massive club until he was 26, 27, whereas Kompany joined it earlier in his career and could have grown into that. And so for that reason,
what's that word?
Yeah, for that reason, I'm just going to push through. I'm just going to power through it, guys. For that reason, I don't think you could put Van Dijk, and I don't think he'll approach even, Kompany or Terry's level because of that. But I do think he's almost as talented as those people.
Yeah. So the first point I'll address is that Van Dijk this year, I guess a year and a half, has been as good of a center back as I've probably seen in the Premier League. But, to put them with the all-time greats, you can have good seasons here and there. Like Chris Smalling has had great seasons at United. Freaking Phil Jones has won the league at Man United. So it's like you can have great seasons, but, to be an all-time great, I understand Van Dijk is definitely better than those two, at this point. But it's still like you need to do it for an extended period of time. So I don't think I would put him with the all-time greats, even though he's been incredible the last year and a half. Vincent Kompany, I think he legitimately has a shout as a top 5 center back in Premier League history since 92-93. He's won 4 Premier League titles. Starting from before the takeover at Man City, the financial takeover at Man City, he's kind of grown as a player and being a real center point for, I'm pretty sure, all 4 of those. This last year, he hasn't been, the focal point of the team. I would say Laporte has been the better of the center backs this year, but he's still, the incredible goal against Leicester to end the season. He's, a City legend. I think he does have a shout to be a top 5 center back of all time. I will say the best maybe I've ever seen for a longer period was Vidic, other than he did have his injury issues like Kompany did. John Terry and Ferdinand also have been incredible. Sol Campbell has been incredible as well. That's another name. I don't think you guys have shouted him out yet, but yeah, that's another name I think has solidified his place as an all-time great. But I guess
we also kind of jumped right over Carragher, who played an absurd amount of games, but I don't think he was at that level. I think he was just a consistent player for what he was.
Yeah, so since we had so much time to prepare for this question, I am Googling it right now. And Carragher and Campbell, Desai is on here as well, but they're all on here. So yeah, I think we
a solid 5 hours.
And Ledley King. Yeah, I give you guys 3 days, but okay, whatever.
Ledley King is I think you could definitely talk about Alderweireld and Vertonghen have been really good as well. I think Alderweireld is absolutely immense.
In history, in Premier League history, though, because that was the question, right? And I don't think that they're at that level. I don't know. I don't think Van Dijk is either.
Okay.
Premier League history.
I'm disagreeing with that one completely. If you put this Van Dijk in any season throughout history, he's still the best center back that's been there. Like I don't.
Wait, what?
If you put this year's Van Dijk in any Premier League season, he's the most dominant center back ever in the Premier League.
That Chelsea team, what do they let up?
12 goals or something like that?
No.
Yeah, they let up like 12 or 15 goals. It was a ridiculous season.
Yeah.
Look it up. I know you don't believe me.
Yeah, I know. We see the phone light popping up on his face, where he doubts this. But that Chelsea team, what year was it? I think it was late 2000s or early
05, probably.
Yeah, it was early Mourinho. I think it was the year that they got 95 points. That was the record before City broke it.
Yeah, but I think Terry definitely has to be in, I think, everyone's top 3 at this point.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. So, right. Matt.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just waiting for Christian to figure this one out. He's agreeing with us?
It was 15. It was not 12. Okay.
Oh, my God. I was way off. My apologies. And I corrected myself. I said 12 or 15.
So are you saying Czech is the reason for that, or where are you going with this? Do you not accepting the center back?
John Terry. Okay, John Terry was also very good. I already announced that.
Okay, how many goals did Liverpool let up this year?
21, 22, something like that.
So maybe Van Dijk wasn't the most dominant.
Yeah, but it was a different time, right? I mean, like, soccer was more defensive, during that time period. And so, I don't know, comparing across ages, I don't know if when you're just comparing on the stat sheet, I don't think it's great.
Also way more goals scored now.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to help you out, but also Christian does bring up a good point. I think if you take Van Dijk and put him into any era, I think he can thrive. I don't know if he is the best center back. I'm not certain of that because, again, I can't speak to what was going on in the 90s and early 2000s. I just wasn't watching closely enough. But, I mean, his performance this year has been one of the best since I've been watching. That's what I'll say.
I will agree with that.
Thanks, Matt.
Good job, Dave. Keep up.
I bring the reasonableness to this podcast, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
To a certain extent. All right. Anything else you guys want to add on this? Any other people you want to shout out?
I'm good. Thank you.
Or Chelsea players you want to, talk shit on, Christian?
I didn't. I only said I hate John Terry as a human being. That's all that I said.
That's all I said.
That is literally all I said.
Moving on. So, keeping on like the Kompany subject and the fact that he is moving to Anderlecht to be a player manager. Do you guys think, Dave,
Yep.
Yeah. Dave, I'll start with you. Do you think this can be a successful strategy in, a top flight?
Yeah, I think it can be. I think it all depends on how he handles it. And he obviously commands a ton of respect. He's coming in there having won almost every trophy at the highest level. Obviously, he doesn't have the Champions League. I'm not trying to rub it in, but he has so much just cachet that he has coming into that locker room. Being Belgian, I believe that was his club growing up too as well, right? That's where he came from?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so he's naturally just going to command that respect, and so I don't think there should be any issues. Obviously, if he starts underperforming and he's still playing himself or there's any situations like that, things could get a little iffy, but I expect him to handle this very well. I would expect him to sort of be phased out and just focus more on the managing versus playing, but I think this can be successful.
Okay, Christian, how do you view this topic?
Well, as a player manager myself, I know how hard it can be.
The exact same thing.
Yeah.
With your FIFA team?
Yeah. No, with my Colonial team, obviously, okay. Matthew. I think this is a odd situation where I don't know if you guys have seen this work anywhere yet, but I feel like every time we have seen it, it has not been successful. I think Kompany is probably the more level-headed of the options that I've seen take this position up before. I think Kompany knows where he is. I think he probably is a starting center back on that team right now, but he just needs to really understand where he is in his career and if there is player development potential with a younger center back who maybe is a little bit, worse than he is. He should be able to give them the opportunities to just progress their careers. And I think it becomes an iffy situation because obviously he's a highly competitive player who wants to be playing, wants to win games. It's a fine line that it's very tough to walk.
And we did see it with Giggs, right, on an interim basis for United.
I didn't think he did it well, though.
No, I'm done. No,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the point I was going to bring up. So Ryan Giggs, like Kompany, demands a lot of respect, and he's won. I think he has literally won every trophy there is to win, out of them, the World Cup or international trophies. But I think he can be successful. Kompany can be with Anderlecht because it's not necessarily the Premier League and all the media pressure and things like that, where when you come to the England, Giggs probably did do well at Manchester United, but just like the expectations of him were ridiculous. And, replacing Sir Alex. So he came after, was it Moyes, where he was the interim, correct?
Yes.
So it was already a period where the team was, I wouldn't say falling apart, but, falling from, being the top of the top. And it was just unreasonable expectations. Yeah, keep going up, Dave. But it was just unreasonable expectations. Whereas I think Kompany has, a market and just a team where he can perform to this extent. David, go. Here you go.
The other aspect of this, I like that you called on me. Christian and I were both raising our hands, but you came to me. The other aspect of this is that I think Kompany's temperament and his leadership qualities specifically from like a manager perspective, where I think he's a good communicator. I think he's a good leader just in general. And I think he's a little bit better on that front than Ryan Giggs is. And so I think that also, if we're comparing just those two situations, I think we'll give him an advantage here as well.
Okay. Christian, what were you going to say?
All right. So I was going to say Giggs' past is a little iffy, and he's done some questionable ethical things. So I think Kompany is a much different person and is ready to take up a managerial role. I just don't know if the player manager thing is really going to work.
So when you bring up Giggs' past, I assume we're thinking of the same thing. But I still don't think that affects his managerial kind of experience.
I mean, you question his ethical decision making at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's always going to follow him around. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with Christian on this one. I would, that plays a factor.
So I feel like it does, especially. Okay, I feel like it does, especially at Man United, but not, if he was going to be Anderlecht, and I don't know. I feel like it's not as big of a deal.
I feel like
you went to a smaller market.
Like that doesn't ever go away, right? Like I feel like that.
Not.
Yeah.
I mean, John Terry is.
We're in a world.
John Terry is going to manage in the championship final, and he did some stuff.
Okay, but no one's stopped talking about what he's done in his past either, though. People,
but it hasn't stopped him from being a great manager.
I don't know.
Are we calling manager. John Terry a great manager?
Relax with that for a second?
John Terry is the Alex Ferguson of
oh my gosh,
2010s. So yes, we are calling him a great manager.
Okay, there you have it, people.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add on this?
I'm good.
I'm gonna jump off the house.
Okay.
It was disgusting.
Ambitious. All right. Last topic I want to address is Antoine Griezmann. Apparently is. So he's allegedly going to Barcelona. He's leaving Atletico Madrid. There's been reports in the last day that the Barcelona squad don't want his antics on the team, and that he's come out and said that he wants to do another LeBron James decision type thing.
Oh my God.
That he did last summer. He did a decision where he did a video of him staying at Atletico Madrid when everyone thought he was going to Barcelona, and he wants to do a part 2 of that. But Atletico Madrid are not approving it and want him removed from the squad before he can publish this video in like July or August. So he's been ridiculous these last couple of years. I think I started with Dave last. Christian, do you think Antoine Griezmann has gotten a pass from the media for his antics, considering how ridiculous this has actually been these last couple of years?
I don't know if he's really gotten a pass from the media. I think people have been very critical of him, and we are media now too, so I'm going to say what I think of it. I think that this is absolute horseshit. He is not the LeBron of soccer, so I understand when LeBron did it, which I still didn't even like.
I don't think anybody liked it.
Yeah, obviously, it's so ridiculous, but obviously Atletico is going to approve last year's because he stayed. Like, obviously, they're not going to be like, oh, yeah, let's do it again. I would love to hear how you're leaving our team. Barcelona's players saying that they don't want him, I don't think that they have much weight other than Messi, who literally whatever he says will go. If Messi doesn't want to play with him, Griezmann will not come. Everyone else, I mean, they're going to listen a little bit, but I don't know if it really matters as much.
David.
So I'm going to disagree and say that the media does give him a pass to a certain extent. I think that obviously we're speaking from like English language media and more specifically like American and maybe like England media, because we don't really get what the media is like in Spain. So I don't know if they're giving him a pass the way that we are.
This is the symbol for England.
So people who are watching on YouTube, you're getting visuals along with just this audio content. So you're really missing out if you're just listening to the podcast.
Behind you.
I do have a map. I would love to point out England. So England. Oh, I got to be a weatherman here. So here's England, and then so if he's down here in Spain, I think they give him a pass. But or Spain doesn't give him a pass. I don't know. So sorry, trying to steer this back. Apologies, listeners. We've gone way off the rails here. I think he benefits from, quite frankly, not being at the pinnacle. Like, he's very, very good, but he's not Ronaldo. He's not Messi. He's not LeBron, if we're comparing him to that. And so these antics, quite frankly, like, fly somewhat under the radar, because I don't even know if he's the best striker, you know, in the game. And so, yeah, he's top 5, but there's almost an extent of like, oh, he's just doing whatever. Let's just ignore him. And I think that that's what it kind of comes back to.
I don't even know if he really is a top 5 striker. I think he's a good player, but I do not think that he is this talented that he can act this way. No one should act this way. Let me just throw that out. But he is definitely not good enough to get a pass with these things.
Yeah.
I think he's not good enough, so he gets a pass. You know, like there's
no one's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like a non-starter. It's like, okay, like he has the decision, and everyone's like, all right. It also helps that like Atletico, for how much respect I have for them and they garner in the world. They're not Barcelona, they're not Real Madrid, and so again, from a brand perspective, they're not quite at that level either. So that also, again, in the English-speaking world, maybe in Spain it'd be different.
Yeah, so I think I'm more in agreement with Dave that he has gotten a pass. Christian, you took 2 L's today, 2 unagreements. Yeah, but like Griezmann, just like the way he is with the media in general, and just kind of his antics, and if this was Neymar gets away with literally Neymar can't do anything in the media without it being criticized. Christian, you're doing a lot with your hands, but I just think like Griezmann, it's not like he is a top 5 player, so I think he does get away with a lot because people don't necessarily care as much about what he does because he's not winning all these trophies. I mean, he did win the World Cup, good for him, but other than that, it's like he's not the biggest name of the sport, like Paul Pogba or Neymar, where they get criticized for literally everything they do because they haven't won everything. Sorry if you heard that bang. My girlfriend just came into the apartment.
Christian, you have something you would like to say?
When you told me I took 2 L's, did you say there was an unagreements?
There may have been. I don't know.
You said unagreements. That's wow. That's a new one there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Was that absolutely necessary? Matt's Megs is going on.
Literally did not hear a word he said after that point.
Okay. All right. So whenever Matt drinks, I think he loses track a little bit of time. And so, but this has been a fantastic Matt.
First of all, time is relative.
It's a social construct.
It's a circle. It's not a line.
Time isn't even real.
Yeah. It's a social construct.
Think about it. All right.
Yeah.
So I won't let Dave conclude Matt's Megs. So here. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to Matt's Megs. Whatever Dave was going to say was going to be stupid. So thanks for listening. Listen to a little bit of music. Drink some Lone Stars, and we'll be right back.
Oh, that was fantastic. Matt, you look svelte. Have you been working out?
Yeah, you already know. Know.
Oh, my goodness. Look out, everybody. Oh, my God. All right.
You just slurred so many times.
Did my match bench today. I was texting Dave about it.
Too many Lone Stars.
Audrey was on the Peloton. I went over. Yo, babe, maxed out. She didn't care the slightest.
Bet she loved it. All right, you guys want to do the stadium scene plug? I am not getting involved in this, so this is all you guys. Oh, also, Kristen said we should mix it up, so feel free to wing it. I know I'm dropping that on you. Like
I don't even know what that means. I wing it literally every time.
So say something. Yeah, try to. I don't know. Mix it up if you want, or just do it the same. I don't give a shit.
Check out our friends at Stadium Scene if you're going to any stadium in the US or Canada. Doesn't matter the sport. If you're going there, they have all this different information that you can use to learn about the area you're going to or the stadium specifically, such as parking, restaurants, or just events in the area. So check them out. Matt, what else do they provide?
Hey, if you like podcasts, YouTube videos, blog posts, things like that, Stadium Scene also offers things like that. So it's not just soccer; it's all sorts of sports. Again, it's North America. It's not just U.S. It's not just soccer. Canada and Mexico. So again, check them out at stadiumscene.tv.
Stadiumscene.tv. That's what it was. All right, everybody, go check it out.
Ah!
We lost it at the end. That was almost very good, guys. That was almost.
Yeah. I thought I was doing all right.
Yeah, you were doing great. You were doing great. Christian likes to laugh.
Christian, do you know how great your smile is?
Oh my god. Woo. Woo.
All right, you recovered, you settled.
My
natural beer of Texas.
Wood. All right. Welcome to Christian's Corner. We're going to get started right away. So, first thing I want to discuss is there have been a couple of managers recently saying that their players are definitely leaving over the summer. I think this is a little iffy to say, especially when they're still under contract. They're not out of a deal. It's weird for me to hear a manager saying that. Specifically, the Red Bull Leipzig or RB Leipzig. I guess it's not Red Bull technically.
Rasenballsport.
Yeah. RB, actually, it would be in Airbe in German, right?
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Ralph, I think it's Rangnick is how you pronounce his name, said it's about Timo Werner, and Lille's manager, Christophe, I think it's Christophe Galtier or Galtier, something like that. I can't pronounce their names. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it.
You're doing great.
Was talking about Nicolas Pepe, who is linked with a lot of top teams. He's a winger on that team. What do you guys think? And I'll start with Matt this time because Matt started with me, so I'm going to start with Matt.
That's so cute, guys. Oh my god.
Shut up. So Matt, what do you think about managers saying their players are leaving when they're still under contract?
Yeah, so I think it's a way of forcing those players out of the club. So I want to say it was today where Real Madrid played their last game and Zidane came out. I don't know why I got so many notifications on my phone about this, but Zidane was like, yeah, even if we had a fourth sub, Bale wouldn't have come on the pitch and things like that, and saying he's definitely leaving. I don't support that. I think you are entitled to, selling your players, especially ones that could bring in a profit or, some ones that can bring in money to the club, and say they're available this summer, but saying like we're selling these players, it seems a bit ridiculous. So I am not for it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I also think it really hurts their negotiating power. So it really doesn't make sense I saw the headlines too with Zidane saying that about Bale. So I don't really understand that. It's one thing to say, like Matt said, these players are going to be available at the right price, and then you can sort of entice buyers to come in. But when you say, I'm never going to pay this or play this player, I think that it really hurts you for commanding a fee for that player. Now, these players, getting back to the players Christian reference, Timo Werner and Pepe, I don't know if this is a situation where these players they already have deals. Like it could be a situation where they already have deals. They haven't announced it yet. And so it may be helpful.
Specifically with Werner, just to go off of what you're talking about, the manager said there have been a lack of offers, so there is no agreements, but he will be leaving this summer, which is just bizarre to me.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I think it kind of comes back to, I think Werner's on the last 12 months of his deal, if I believe correctly. And so, there's that. They're basically saying that they want to sell him. They don't want to lose him for free. I don't know the Pepe situation close enough. But again, I don't know how much this really helps you. If anything, if you're saying you're going to clear these players out, I don't know, maybe it helps you attract new players. That would be the only thing that I could think of if RB Leipzig and Lille are trying to attract, replacement players, and they're worried about coming there. Maybe they can get them in. That would be the only benefit I could see from this scenario.
Yeah, I don't think that this is helping with the negotiating power of raising their price. And it's just hurting the confidence, in my opinion, of these players, because now they feel like they're not belonging to this team and they have to find a way out. So it's just a really weird decision. And the players may have already said, I'm leaving this summer, and that's why they're saying it. But that also could have not happened. Like they could have just been very, very talented and they're linked to a bunch of teams, but maybe they decide, hey, I am going to stay, especially with RB Leipzig. Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, so that's just like my general question. Do players have the right to or I guess, do they have hand motions that
do they have rights?
No, players don't have rights. But do they deserve, a period of time where they are allowed to leave the club? I know Ajax with Nuri. Am I pronouncing that right? The winger. I think he's 25. They were already saying they know top clubs.
Are you talking about Ziyech?
Yeah, I think he's talking about Ziyech.
Nuri Ziyech. Is that his first name?
Oh, okay. I don't quite frankly know his name. I've never heard him referred to as that. I've only heard a Ziyech or Ziyech, and so I had no idea who you're talking about. But okay.
All right,
getting back to him.
I think that they said that top clubs are going after him this summer. So at what point does a club know that players are too good for the club, and where do they keep those players? Like Pepe, Lille is keeping him to keep them competitive. Ajax into the Champions League semifinal because of players like him and De Jong and De Ligt and things like that. So at what point do players deserve better, and at what point do clubs deserve better? You know what I mean?
Not really, Matt. So I mean, yeah, both can move on. I think
usually the second Wednesday after the season ends.
Yeah. I think what Christian's comment is, I don't really understand your point, but I think what Christian's just trying to say is why are they airing it out in the media? What would be the logic behind it? I'm in total agreement that if the players want to move on, it's in the club's best interest to move them on because they're either not going to perform it, they're not going to be able to attract other players. Yeah, they're valuable. They're going to get paid for them. And from a club's perspective, yeah, I mean, well, that works that way too. So from a player perspective, they get on to bigger and better things. From a club perspective, they get compensated for it. So yeah, I think it makes sense. So again, I don't know exactly
for it, but you get paid more for making the Champions League semifinal than I'm sure you get from just one player.
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you? I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, this is your point.
I guess it depends on the player and what they're going for.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you move somebody for £100 million or something like that, I don't know what the prize money is for the Champions League. I want to say the final winner a couple years ago got around £70 million, but I think that was just for the final. I don't think that was throughout the course of the competition. So,
like Liverpool, if they win, I think they'll have £130 million in total winnings.
Yeah. But then what you do, or what the business model is, it all depends on what these clubs' business models are. And so if they sell Ziyech for £100 million or whatever he ends up going for, and they buy 10 more Ziyechs, and then they convert 2 of them into 100 million, then you're doubling your money, right? And so that's the business model. You take one player.
Quick maths.
Yeah, you take one player, you sell him for a large fee, you spread that money out over a number of players, and then you hope 1, 2, or 3 of those, hopefully all of them hit, but that's not going to happen. But you hope some of them hit, and then you grow, and then they sell, and you build a beautiful club, a beautiful business, and the world goes round.
More money, more money.
Yes.
All right, you guys have anything else to add on this topic?
No, I am good.
All right, so since Matt mentioned De Ligt, let's go to that conversation. So Roy Keane came out this week and said that Ajax captain De Ligt is only 19, is playing at an incredibly high level, is the captain of a pretty big European team, and goes, Rashford and Lingard really need to learn from this guy. He just really laid into the two of them. I'm going to pull up the exact quote.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. It's so hilarious. He said, you have to look at Matthias De Ligt captaining Ajax at 19 years old, earning a modest wage. Meanwhile, do you have a question right now that you need to ask?
I feel like Dave doesn't want this quote.
No,
unconfirmed.
I have no idea. This came from those sketchy Twitter accounts that I don't believe that Roy Keane said exactly that. I think that the point that he was probably making.
You don't believe Roy Keane would say this?
I don't know if he would say it or
absolutely
not.
would say
So finish the quote, and then we can debate all we want.
Okay,
I stepped in.
We're assuming that this is correct because this is a podcast and it's not all facts. It is about our opinions. So there you go.
Okay.
Real.
So it says, meanwhile, Rashford is scoring 10 goals a season. And he said killing disabled fans in wheelchairs because his free kicks are so bad. And Lingard is earning 120K being an Instagrammer. I think that these two players are beyond average, and I just can't get over it. And Ligt is an incredible talent who has a lot of potential. But yes, Matthew, you're raising your hand.
No, Dave is first at this point.
Okay,
yeah,
David, what do you think of these comments? And obviously you don't believe them at this point, but if they were true, let's go with that.
Well, no, like I said, I think the point that he made, again, I don't know what Keane actually said. So, but the point he's trying to make is the Ligt is younger, behaving more as a leader, and is further along in his development than like a Rashford or a Lingard, who are often held up on these pedestals. So that, I think, I don't know how you could possibly argue that. He's 19. He captained his club to the semifinals. You hear him You hear him speak. Did you hear him speak? I don't know, guys. I'm tired.
Okay.
He spoke at the Ajax trophy ceremony. And I mean, it's just incredible that the kid is 19 and just can lead in that manner. And add on top of that, I mean, his play on the field goes, a long ways as well. And so Rashford, again, had a lot of promise. He's still on the younger side. The thing that gets me about Lingard, everybody talks about him as a young player. He broke through at like 24.
He's like 25.
He's like 25 or 26 at this point. And so,
like 26,
yeah. And so, I mean, he's a fine player. Like Christian, I think he's a pretty average player, but people need to stop comparing him to like this up and coming generation. I don't think he is that. And so he's a good enough pro, probably not good enough for Manchester United, and likely needs to move on.
So that's either. Yeah. So Matt, what do you think needs to be done from, I guess, maybe an English media standpoint to make these younger players stop behaving this way and act more professional?
So I don't think the English media needs to stop doing anything. I mean, England made it to the World Cup semis recently with this young core. I think a lot of pressure has been put on this young core. And, I mean, like the Liverpool, Trent Alexander-Arnold, I assume, will place Kyle Walker soon. Has been one of Liverpool's best players. They have, young players kind of all over. Rashford will be the striker, undoubtedly soon enough. And I know that he necessarily hasn't done enough to be Manchester United's great, striker, but not great number 9. But I think he's well on his way to being the best striker in England. So I think there's just an unreal pressure. Like they've said, Lingard has been called this young player since he came about, and for some reason he's still called that young player who is bursting onto the scene. But I mean, it's ridiculous. He doesn't even play that. He doesn't do that much for Manchester United, and Manchester United isn't doing that much when he's on the pitch. So I just think it's unreal expectations, and I think the English media doesn't really need to do too much, and I think England is still on their way of being a great team.
Okay. Dave, do you think that anything needs to be done to stop specifically English players in the Premier League from behaving like they act like children? And I understand they are young, but look at what's happening in the Netherlands with De Ligt and De Jong. They're both very mature players.
Yeah, but that's also this doesn't happen often. These are very, very special players. So we're comparing them. Matthew, would you like to say something?
Okay, so to what Christian just said, Paul Pogba and Benjamin Mendy seem like two of the most immature, Instagram-focused players, social media players, and they just won the World Cup. So I don't think that has anything to do with anything. Also,
they're French too. So the England thing, I don't know how much it plays a factor. There's tons of money in the game at a younger age, than has been in the past. So that definitely plays a role. But there are players that can handle it. There are other players that can't, or that struggle with it. I mean, Raheem Sterling went through a difficult phase when he was younger. And then look at him now. I mean, he's still 23, 24 years old, but so much more mature. And so he's still a young player, though. We forget that. He's like the opposite of Lingard.
The young player of the year.
Yeah, exactly. He's the young player of the year, but he's so mature, and just how he handles the media, the things that he does from a charity perspective, from a society, and handling all the racial stuff. And so for every again, I don't think Rashford or Lingard are doing anything terrible, from a perspective. I just don't know how great they really are. And they're comparing them to like these generational players in Ligt, who's captaining a Champions League semifinalist at 19. That's not normal, right? And so like I don't think it's really fair to compare him to that. I think you should just praise Ligt.
I don't know. I feel like outside of England, there's not as much of this behavior, and I think it happens a lot more just because of the money, I guess, that is in the Premier League
and media coverage too.
Wait, so what do you mean outside? Like we just like my topic was Griezmann acting like a dickhead literally all the time.
Yeah, but he's one specific person. Like I think this is way more.
Benjamin Mendy.
Okay, but they're in the Premier League, and also severely overrated is Pogba, and I will stand by that forever. Severely overrated. Look at his team that has been built around him that he is not. I'm not saying he's not good, but he is overrated.
He's better in a role-playing role. I will actually stand by Christian. I think he's exceptional when he doesn't need to be the absolute star of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Matt. I know you want to comment on that.
I don't know what you want me to say. Like, look at the team he's freaking playing with. And other than that, he just won a World Cup at being probably the best player on France.
But
he looks like the best player on France because the other players around him are so good. Like he needs to be in a team like that.
So was he a role player?
Yeah.
Everyone on that team is a role player. There is no star on that team, in my opinion.
What?
I think Pogba was a role player on that France team.
Yeah.
I don't think he done. I think he played exceptionally well. I don't think that the game
Conte
flowed
is the
through
more
him.
important midfielder for them.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Okay.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Thanks, Matt. That is fantastic.
That's just fact. We only talk about facts on this podcast, Matt. Didn't we just go over this?
All right. Talk about on this podcast.
No, I'm good.
Nothing else you have to add on that one?
No.
I'm good.
All right, so I'll do one more topic here because I had 4 originally, but we're running pretty long today. So,
but this has been a great conversation, everyone. And so
it has been
so much fun.
Just the best.
Shut up, it's Christian's corner.
Yeah, it's Gareth Southgate said this week that he is concerned with the dropping number of starting spots for English players in the Premier League. Last season was 33.2%. Now it's down to 30%. So it's been steadily declining every year for the past couple of years. Do you think that this is a cause for concern, or do you think that the star players are already playing in England, so it doesn't actually make much of a difference? Matt, I will go to you.
Yeah, so the English players that Christian mentioned,
English.
I feel like it's happened for a while now, where a lot of the best players have come from countries outside of England. I don't think it's something to necessarily worry about because England has performed better than they have in quite some time at the World Cup. And I have faith in their young core at the Euros. I think they will get pretty far in that tournament, compete maybe to the semifinals again. And you never know as you compete. There's 5 teams that have a chance of winning every freaking tournament. So it's not like one team is like definitely going to win. So I have faith in the England core. It's been happening for a while now. And I still think that England's best players are getting those minutes on those top teams, whereas maybe not every single top player is from England in the Premier League, but I still think they'll be fine in these tournaments.
Yeah. Dave, what do you think about this declining rate?
The other interesting the other interesting trend we are seeing, there we are, people, is that young English players, when they're not getting time, are moving overseas. That's never really happened before. You saw Jadon Sancho kind of pave the way by going to Dortmund. Other players are considering doing that. And so, again, I think it's good. I don't think England should only have English players in their league, or young England players should only play in the English league. That's what I'm trying to say there. So, obviously, it's better wherever young players can get minutes. And so the fact that they're succeeding elsewhere is a good sign, in my opinion. And like Matt said, I think this is all kind of cyclical, and they're in a relatively good spot, and they're trending, pretty good with a young core. So I'm not overly concerned by this. If this was 5-10 years ago when their golden generation was sort of aging out, I think this would be a bigger issue.
Yeah, I think their core players are getting the time that they need right now and are just on the better teams. And some of the young, or I guess lesser teams, still are playing a lot of English people now that I'm thinking about it. So maybe, is it the top teams don't have as many English players now that I'm thinking about it?
Yeah, I would think that they don't have a ton. I mean, Tottenham and Liverpool have a decent amount, but
I knew that.
City, it just has Foden and Sterling, right?
Yeah, Foden and Sterling are pretty much.
United
Walker.
have a lot as well.
Stones.
Yeah. So I guess they do still have a decent amount. I guess maybe it's probably more the lower to mid-table teams that don't have the English players, Christian. I would imagine that's why.
Because I feel like that's what we've seen in the past, though. Usually those were just the local English players that were playing for those teams. And as more money has come to those teams in the lower mid-table, like you were just talking about, they're spending it on foreign players to improve the quality. So I don't think that it is a cause for concern. I think it's just dropping the level of the English players that are pretty average or below average that were just playing because they were the local brand and they didn't have the money to spend. Now they have South American or other European country players who can add that quality.
The one thing that now, after I made my point, that just clicked in my head with Brexit coming in and making it potentially tougher for English players to get work permits in the EU, that could have a huge, profound impact. So if the playing time continues to dry up in England and they can't move elsewhere, then it starts to be a problem. So I did want to bring up that point.
That makes sense. And I feel like if that happened, England would still be playing more of their, like the teams in the Premier League would be playing more English players at that point because it's just easier from a visa standpoint. What is wrong with me today?
So does that affect the senior teams? I know it affects the academies a lot because you're not able to get, people that are under 16, right?
Correct.
Into those academies, but at the senior level, can't they still get, people from abroad?
There's homegrown rules. Yeah. There's homegrown rules in England, right? And so each club needs to have a certain amount of players that spent time in English academies. And then going the other way, there's work permit issues. So I know in England, they're historically tough to get work permits. And so Matt, you bring up an interesting point. It might go the other way. And it might be that it's tougher for players to get work permits that are, lower mid-table coming from foreign countries. And so those might go to young players. And so I don't know, Brexit's going to have so many interesting implications on the Premier League and just broader soccer economy. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with all that.
So definitely stay tuned to the Bros Talking Soccer podcast as Brexit continues.
It's an excellent plug. I can't even say anything. That was well done.
All right. So anything else to add on this topic before we wrap up Christian's Corner?
No.
Good. All right. So thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the little talk we had here and listen to some music before we come back to finish up with Dave's domestic dives.
All right. Excellent stuff.
All right. While Dave does this plug.
Go to the bathroom.
Yes, please. Oh my God. Well, I was just swimming, so my underwear is wet, so I have to pee so bad.
I don't need to hear all of that. That's just
you're on YouTube.
We don't need to hear any.
First of all, have people on YouTube not ever swam before? Like
this is 100% going in the outtakes.
In news. That your underwear is wet, so that makes you have to pee. Like, obviously.
And also, pounding beers will do that to you as well.
Usually, that's
Dave, mind your own business. I'm drinking the national beer of Texas.
All right, go to the bathroom, mute your mic. Oh wow, we got a shot right of his crotch as well. Look at that. Jesus Christ. What's up, everybody? Go check out our partner, FNX.network. FNX.network is a website that has all different kinds of content. They have blogs about movies, video games, lifestyle, entertainment, tech, news, and more. They have our stuff on there. You can listen to podcasts, you can watch YouTube videos, and you can check out all their awesome content. All of that is available on FNX.network. Go check it out today. Hello. Anyone here live on YouTube or watching in the future? Matt is here. Oh, there we go. How does Matt feel about never having as much shoulder hair as I do? Oh, that is fantastic. Matt, we got a couple of references to your smile comment already. You missed those earlier, but thank you for joining us here. Hopefully all is well with you. I will let Matt know once he gets back. There's Christian. Christian, smile for him.
I did. That's what I just did.
I know, but you were very, very tiny. I assume he wants to see it big.
No, I don't want to do it, though, now that you phrased it that way.
Yeah, that was fucking weird. Weird. Yeah, weird. Okay. Matt, we're just waiting for the other Matt to get back, and and then we'll jump into there's his crotch. All right, there it is.
God, look at his freaking face.
Oh my God. Fucking weirdo. All right, let's go.
Have you never seen headphones before?
He's very confused by that. All right.
The cord unplugged from the headset. So.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Brian. Oh, we're gonna have ants.
Okay. All right. Let's get this. We're going long here, and we got Game of Thrones stuff. So let's get back into things. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dave's Domestic Dive. First topic here, we're talking about Tim Weah. So there is a rumor that PSG is listening to offers. They're not definitely moving him this summer. Weah came out and said he wants to fight for his spot at PSG, but I saw Crystal Palace. That's who I'm thinking of, potentially in for him. And he's got a couple other opportunities. Theoretically, again, this is all rumors. Christian, where do you think Tim Weah would be best suited for his next career move? Do you think he should stay at PSG or move?
I don't think he's going to break through at PSG. Definitely not in the next year or two. So I think he needs to continue to get game time and play at the highest level that he possibly can. I think Crystal Palace is a very interesting option. He's pretty quick, and he's also got size to him. So I think he can be a threat in the Premier League if he continues to develop in his technical side of the game as well. I think the game actually suits him pretty well with the style of play in the Premier League. And we all know Crystal Palace needs some type of attacking option because Benteke scored 1 goal this year, and Zaha is pretty much their entire offense right now. I think he would get the chances to play there, and there specifically, that you mentioned it, makes a lot of sense to me.
Townsend hits bangers as well, but those happen very infrequently. Also, Weah getting time in Scotland helped with his physicality. Matthew, where do you think Weah would be best suited for his career?
Yeah, so Townsend only scores bangers on Premier League winners, I will say.
No, he had a couple other nice goals too, but okay.
Okay. So Zaha seems like he's out. So it seems like Crystal Palace is asking for like 80 million for him, which seems a bit ridiculous. I still think he is one of the more talented wingers in the Premier League, but 80 million is
Weah.
Like,
this is about Weah. Let's not go with this. So where do you think Weah makes sense?
Right. No. Okay, so this is Crystal Palace because I don't care about the other clubs he's going to. I wish he's in the Premier League.
Okay.
I think he would be the replacement to Zaha at Crystal
okay. All right. Now I'm understanding what you're talking about. Okay.
So if he were to come to the Premier League, I think, like Christian said, he does have the physicality to kind of compete there. It's going to be tough to replace Zaha, who, is a Manchester United kind of grown player and should have.
Nope.
Crystal Palace.
He was Crystal Palace grown. He spent 1 season at United.
Wait, he came from their academy?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then was sold to United.
For 1 season.
And then went back.
Correct, Matthew.
We did it.
The more you know. So it's like, okay, but since I've known him, he has always been like
Christian, stop playing with the mic, please. Stop playing with the mic, please, Christian. Matt, what are you saying?
He's been a top prospect in England since, as long as I've kind of known him. And even though he has been a Crystal Palace product, he's always been a top club kind of player. So I think Weah would be kind of foolish to kind of try to assume that he could replace Wilfried Zaha at Crystal Palace. Okay. Although I do want to see him in the Premier League. It would be a challenge that I think would be hard for him.
So you don't think he should go to Crystal Palace? Is that?
I kind of want him there.
Okay.
He could do it, but I don't think he would be necessarily successful.
Okay.
Like, because it would be like Zaha seems like he does everything for that team at this point, attacking, and it would be like, oh, he would be the person to replace Zaha. And I think that would be tough on what is he, 20 now?
Yeah. Okay. So that's fair. So I understand what you mean there. We got there eventually. It was a roundabout way, but we got there eventually. I think that PSG is an interesting sort of situation. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a serious cleaning of house from a player's perspective there this summer. I mean, they built that team up to win the Champions League or at least compete for the title, and they haven't gotten past the quarterfinals. Have they gotten past the round of 16? I can't remember.
Yeah, they went to the semifinals once.
Okay. Really? I don't think they have.
I don't think they have either.
Yeah, I don't think they've gotten past the quarterfinals. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just clean house, and there are opportunities for him at PSG and where he's maybe under a little bit less pressure, both on a domestic perspective, and then he can kind of ease into things in the Champions League. That legitimately might be his best option. Moving to Crystal Palace, the Premier League is just so unforgiving on youth players, and if they make mistakes, they're not really given opportunities to atone for them. It's you make a mistake, you're out. And so that would be my concern with him moving there. Moving to the Bundesliga or a situation like that where even the Netherlands, where he gets more playing time, he can be a first team contributor and then grow his career from there, might be the best option. So that would be, my thoughts on that. Christian, anything else you want to add about Weah?
Nope.
Matthew.
So if he was to go to another league, I still think like even the Bundesliga, I think he's so much different than a lot of the other American players where, the expectations for him are so ridiculously high because his father, Ballon d'Or winner, and he only has one goal for the senior team, right?
For the U.S. men's national team?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know his stats for the national team.
A couple with one or two. But like, I feel like just like the pressure on him is so crazy high. I feel like he could do well on like a major adjustment. Like it seems like every US player goes to the Bundesliga every like great prospect seems to go to the Bundesliga. I think that staying at PSG or going somewhere, Spain or Portugal, could be beneficial for him because I think his situation is much different than a lot of the other, US men's national team players.
Interesting. I think his game, while that might be the case, I think his game, quite frankly, is suited to whether it's England or Germany. I think that the physicality in his game, the pace, I think he would do better in those environments. And if you're asking me to choose which one is better for young players, I would say Germany. But again, PSG might not be the worst option for him. And or moving to like a PSV, like if he moved to a big club in the Netherlands, that might be an interesting move as well. So again, I'm not ruling that out completely. Let's move this along. Let's talk some MLS right now. Bruce Arena was recently appointed as the sporting director and manager at the New England Revolution. He's an American, legend in the game. So he's been around for forever. I believe he's in his 60s now. But Matt, what do you think about the Revs hiring him? Ton of experience, but hasn't been in MLS for a number of years, flamed out with the national team. Do you like this hire from the Revs? And what do you think about them, hiring him as a, dual position, both sporting director and head manager?
So I think it makes sense from their perspective, considering they went nowhere with Friedel recently, and they want someone experienced. I don't expect them to necessarily compete for the MLS Cup this year. And Bruce Arena has come out and
definitely
said,
not.
Bruce Arena has come out and said, like, I am not Bill Belichick, working for the Crafts, saying that, they're not expecting, the Boston success that has happened these last couple of years, or, well, freaking my entire lifetime, Boston winning freaking everything. I think that it's the right hire, but I don't think he's going to win much. I think he's going to give stability to the organization, but I don't think it's, it's going to bring them too many titles.
Christian, what do you think about the hire?
I think it's a good word that Matt just used. I think it's a stability hire. I don't think that this is going to really revolutionize. The team. But I think he's going to just calm the ship and get them some results. I still don't think that no matter what he does this season, they're going to be making the playoffs with this squad. I know he can make some moves in the summer, but I still don't think that this team is built to really challenge.
7 of 12 teams make the playoffs. I think anybody has an option.
Yeah, I guess, but I still just don't think that this team has it. He's been there and he's done it, so he's familiar with the league. The league has changed pretty significantly since he was last in it, but he is somebody who's just going to get his job done pretty quietly, and I think it's a smart move on their part, probably.
Yeah, and for people saying the game may have passed him by or the league may have passed him by, I mean, he built DC United and LA Galaxy into dynasties, really, and both those went through periods of transition for the league. Like, he's managed through periods of transition for the league. I don't hold that against him. I think that that is experience, and I think he has proven that he can sort of evolve and almost manipulate the rules, or really kind of trying to find loopholes in the roster mechanisms. Like, he exploited that a ton with the LA Galaxy. And so I would expect, I don't think this is only about stabilization. I think that this obviously is a good move for stabilization, but I wouldn't write him off as making an impact, broader for the Revs and turning them around. I don't love the sporting director and manager. I think he eventually moves into sporting director and hires a manager, but we'll see from that perspective. Matt, anything else to add?
I don't think so. Dave, quick question. Were you for or against him being the U.S. men's national team?
I was for him being the manager, and he proved me wrong. It was not the right move, but yeah.
I like him. Okay.
Good job, Matt. Me and you got this. We did it.
Yeah.
There you go. Virtual high fives. We're having fun here. All right, next thing I want to talk about, MLS related, and sticking with the Revs. They played Chelsea on May 15th, midweek, middle of the MLS season, right after the Premier League ended, but Chelsea still had a Europa League final to play, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek tore his Achilles. Who am I going to here? I think Christian, you're first this time.
Yeah.
Why are they playing this match?
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I don't have any idea why this match was being played. They lost one of their star midfielders for the season now. It just makes no sense at all whatsoever. I don't know why the Revolution would agree to play mid-season for them. It is mind-blowing to me that they would risk the health of these players for 4 days after the Premier League, 3 days after the Premier League ended, right? And the Revolution probably played that previous weekend as well, and probably played the next weekend. It makes zero sense, and this is just a cash grab that means nothing. I don't get it.
I will say, I think there was some sort of charity component. I don't have the details. I want to say it was like anti-Semitic, or not anti-Semitic. What? It was anti-Semitic, right? I don't know the right way to say that. I could have that completely wrong. So let me double check that before we throw that out there. So I'll double check on that. But there was some sort of charity component to this. But again, I don't understand the timing of it all. Matt, what do you think about the match?
So I don't know what you were talking about right there. So ignore that. But in terms of soccer, which is the thing we discussed right here, it makes no sense that a team that is in the Europa League final, which the final's next weekend, right?
I think it's
Europa League
right
finals
midweek.
Champions
League. Yeah, it's like a Wednesday before the Champions League final.
First of all right. Why do they make Europa League even more random? Obviously Thursday is random enough for going throughout the entire year, but why do they make it a freaking Wednesday final? Why don't they make it a weekend final?
Didn't the Champions League used to be midweek?
Not in our lifetime that I can. Well, maybe in our lifetime, but not in like our.
Okay, I could have that wrong. All right, just circling back on the conversation, it was the final whistle on hate. It was a fight to raise awareness in the fight against anti-Semitism and description. So I was correct. My phrasing was terrible, but this had a charity component. But again, why the hell are they doing it? May 15th.
Yeah, so I assume Chelsea, it had to be accepted, weeks and months or whatever in advance.
Yeah, this is planned months, if not before the season. Yeah.
But I don't understand how they don't postpone that. And, having Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who I wouldn't say he's the most important player on Chelsea, but he has played a role throughout the season. it's just ridiculous that you can afford to let a player tear his Achilles.
Achilles,
yeah, during a charity match. I mean, the rest of the team, it seemed like they were having fun. Like, I mean, I saw the end where the goalie of Robert Green, right? Is that the third string goalie?
Yes.
He came in like the 85th minute, and the whole team like went crazy, and like things like that. Like that's good for team chemistry, but the fact that you're letting players that would have an impact on the the Europa League final and getting into the they're already in the Champions League. I guess it doesn't matter too much now that I'm thinking about it. It's still ridiculous, but they're already in the Champions League.
Well, yeah, but it's still a trophy.
And it's also
like
from the Revs perspective.
Trophy, you know what I mean?
But it's against one of their city rivals. Like they're not going to take that lightly.
Yeah. Also, all right, I know we're focusing on Chelsea a lot of this. The Revs are in the middle of their season. Like they have even more less.
Yeah, but it's not as weird for that because they play games in July anyway for preseason.
I guess.
I think that's when it should have been. That's when they should have scheduled this game to be played.
July. Yeah. It's weird all around. Matthew, anything else you want to add?
Yeah. So like the MLS teams do play against like English teams, and then they play the All-Stars play, I guess, one of the top European teams. Was it Atletico Madrid?
I
think it's Atletico,
yeah. So it's that's like completely normal. Whereas this, to be honest, I don't know of any other situation where this has happened in May.
Yeah, Dortmund has done this before. I remember seeing Pulisic over here right after their season ended. So this has happened. It doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't make sense that MLS teams partake in it. I know it's become normalized, but why are MLS teams playing European teams in the middle of their season? Doesn't make sense to me. I know it's cash grabs. I know whatever, it's good for the business, but it doesn't make sense to me. European teams would never do that. And so I don't think that we should just excuse it because it happens in July. I don't think they should be doing it in July. Matthew, something else you would like to add? I love how talkative you are.
Yeah, European teams, I feel like do this. City played Girona a couple weeks into the season, and I feel like they. What do you mean? What?
When and why? Why are they doing that? I don't think that they should be doing that.
Yeah, but I feel like they do, and the German teams have friendlies in.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense because they take a break.
Yeah, they go on a break and then they play like I feel like the Bayern team is playing like Saudi Arabian teams. In the middle of winter, like just like scrimmaging them. So I feel like you're saying like it doesn't happen over there. I feel like it does happen.
Well, it doesn't happen. You're not playing. Dortmund and Bayern are not playing on the weekend and then midweek, although actually I think this happened this year, so I take it back, but playing the Chicago Fire because it was a Bastian Schweinsteiger testimonial. But again, it's really weird one-off situations. It's not every year that these things happen. And you're talking about the winter break in Germany. Yeah, they need to stay match fit, so it makes sense that they're doing that. There's a purpose. With these games, I don't necessarily think that there is a purpose outside of, again, it's a great cause for charity, and I'm not against that aspect. It just doesn't make sense. Their priority should be, from a Revolution perspective, should be their regular season. From a Chelsea perspective, should be the Europa League. So it doesn't make sense from any perspective. Christian, anything else you want to add on this one?
Nope.
Last thing we wanted to talk about here real quick, Liga MX and MLS are starting a tournament. I don't know what it's called, and it's going to involve the Houston Dynamo, LA Galaxy, RSL, and Chicago Fire from MLS, and then Cruz Azul, America, and Tigres from Liga MX, a fourth team to be decided. Seems to be pretty random. It seems to be not really explained why the hell they're doing this. Matthew, what do you think about this tournament? Why do you think that this is happening?
Is it overshadowing like the CONCACAF Champions League?
It's supposed. I mean, some of these teams played in the CONCACAF Champions League. Houston played in the Champions League. America and Tigres also played, although America may not have been in this year. But I mean, they played in the Champions League this year. This is just a way for Liga MX and MLS to play more head-to-head matches. That is their logic behind it. What do you think of that?
I don't love it. I think the Champions League is the time where you're supposed to go, intercontinental and play these matches. So I'm not for it. I mean, with this like small of numbers, it seems like it's the best teams in both leagues anyways, which is also okay. I understand you're shaking your head, but like the bigger names in both leagues anyways.
Real Salt Lake.
Okay, I get that. Three of the four.
I mean, Houston, I don't think is either. I mean, Houston has a huge.
Didn't they win the U.S. Open Cup last year? Or
yeah, but that was more of a flash in the pan than a dominating huge MLS brand. I know they have a big Latin American population, and that's probably what they're catering to by involving them. But still, it's an odd choice. This whole tournament's odd to me.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like the three teams do make sense for a Latin American competition, and then Dave's on mute. But Chicago Fire is the odd team out there. So it made sense until you said Chicago Fire. But like, I don't know. I'm not for this competition. I feel like it like hinders the CONCACAF Champions League. So I'm not for it.
Christian, what do you think?
This is real dumb. I don't understand this at all whatsoever. I really don't have much to add to this conversation just because it's infuriating that they would add this competition for literally no reason and randomly pick teams. What do they use, a hat? I have no idea how they made this choice. I'd be furious if the Union were in it, and I'm glad they're not. It's added games for no reason at all whatsoever. I don't know. Is this for a trophy or something? I guess it is. But
but what does the trophy mean?
Is it going to be randomly assigned teams every year?
I don't know. I mean, the details are still fuzzy on this.
Yeah. No, just make it stop. Make the CONCACAF Champions League more of a thing. Just blow it up. Make it huge. Do not waste time building a new competition for no reason.
Bam. Mic drop. I don't have anything else to add. Matt, anything you want to
throw
say?
my mic on the ground?
No, don't do that.
It's hard to blow things up and then also make it huge.
All right, Matt, thanks for that. That was lovely. All right, let's get to our listener questions here. We just have one from @Northwood Guitar. Matt, he's also live on YouTube. Hello, Matt. Thank you for joining us. Christian, do you know how great your smile is?
I do now. Thank you, Matt, because you really opened my eyes to this new world where people notice this glowing face that I have. And
tan glowing face.
I know, yeah, I know.
Right?
Look at me. I was out in the sun all weekend, and now my beautiful smile glows even brighter. And I am so glad that you took time out of your busy schedule to let me know that my smile is great. I really didn't know. I thought it was pretty average, just like these guys, pretty average. But apparently I'm just better.
There you have it. All right, so that's fun. Kind of on that vein of form, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's listens to the podcast. We really, really appreciate you guys. Anyone who's left a review, we're up to 24 reviews on iTunes, which is really, really cool. I think 23 out of the 24 are 5 stars, so it's really awesome. We really, really appreciate it, and can't thank you guys enough. Also, we kind of referenced this earlier on, but we record this live on YouTube. I don't know if everyone who listens to the podcast knows that. Just search Bros Talking Soccer on YouTube, or you go to youtube.com/c/Bros Talking Soccer and find them. Usually we record on Sundays, and then we have all kinds of other content. Christian and I have been making videos about MLS matches. We've been doing previews. We call them quick kick picks. So we do those once or twice a week. And so just wanted to let you know that we have other content out there. So the podcast is awesome, but we're also doing other things specifically on YouTube. Christian, do you want to tell people about our Slack channel?
I would love to. So if you do not know what Slack is, it is just a big chat room where you can talk to a bunch of people, and ours is specific to soccer, a bunch of different categories. We've got the Premier League, all the other top 5 European leagues, MLS, international soccer, transfer rumors, all that good stuff. Also a general category where you can talk to us about whatever you would like to talk about. And trust me, there are people in there that will talk about anything. If you want to join that, you can email us at bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com or tweet at us at BTSoccerPod, and we will get you involved in the fun of Slack.
Absolutely. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at BTSoccerPod. Like Christian said, you can interact with us and, know when we're going live. Check out all of our content. That'd be awesome. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're listening to the podcast and like what you heard, please consider leaving us a review. That would be awesome. Matt, can you tell people about our website?
Yeah, so our website is www.brostalkingsoccer.com. I'm sorry about the slurred W's. The W's, first of all, you know W's. You know me. But there you can read about us, find past episodes.
What is the website? Just redo the website so What was it?
You do the website. That was a great website. www.brostalkingsoccer.com.
There you go.
And, as I said, y'all know the W's. So there you can read about us, find past episodes, find links to our YouTube page, things like that. And there's also a link to our Amazon store where it's no additional cost to you. It's a couple extra steps. It really helps support the show, and we'd really appreciate it. Again, it's www.brostalkingsoccer.com.
All right, Matt, are you going to make it through Game of Thrones, or are you going to be passed out by that time? You're slurring all over the place.
First of all, yeah, I never really learned how to talk, so this is just a struggle for me.
Okay, well, we're happy to help. Is there a second of all, or is that just first of all? That's it?
No, there's only one of all.
Okay, there you go, one of all. Listeners, thank you so much for being here. Christian, thank you for being here.
Dave, would you like to know the trivia question answer?
Yes, I would. My apologies.
So the trivia question this week was about Ian Robben and Franck Ribéry. Do you guys know which of them scored more goals for Bayern? I'll start with you, Dave.
I have Franck. I think that he was healthier for longer. That would be my guess.
Okay, Matthew.
So it was just more goals, not assists.
More goals for. I'm gonna go one by one. So goals first. Yes.
Okay, goals. I will say Robben.
Wow, guys, pick different answers here. So obviously one of you is right.
Yeah.
The answer is in 201 games, Ian Robben scored 99 goals. In 273 games, Ribéry scored 86 goals.
Oh, so I was right.
Ian Robben was correct. Who had more assists?
Ribéry.
I will also say Arjen Robben.
Oh, very interesting. So Ribéry in 273 games had 93 assists. Robben in 201 games had 52 assists. I can't believe you pick Robben. He never passes the ball.
Yeah, especially after he said he's played like 70 more games too. So that's what influenced my second guess. So thank you for that, Christian, for those hints.
Technically, I mean, you guys will know the answer now, but do you know who has more titles?
Ribéry.
Because he played
obviously
2 more years.
Yeah, he's played another 2 years. So it was 9-8. Ribéry has 9 titles.
All right, that was amazing. Oh my god. All right, listeners, thank you for being here. We really, really appreciate it. Christian, that was a fantastic trivia question. I love tying it in, something topical. Very, very good stuff. Christian, thank you for being here.
Thank you, David. It was my pleasure.
Matt, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Dave, for having me on your television show.
Listeners, thank you so much for being here. We really, really appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you later this week. Say, everyone. Matt Leffler, thank you for being here. You're gone, okay, but thanks for being here. If in case you watch us in the future and happen to see, thanks for being here. Bye-bye.